When it comes to health, working one step at a time oftentimes yields better results than if you try to become a hero overnight and adopt all of these different protocols and do all of this different stuff. You're going to go from a standard American diet to this diet, and you're going to get rid of all these different food groups. And on top of that, you're going to be at bed at a certain time, and you're going to get up at 5 and go on a run. And you can take on too many responsibilities, folks. And if you take on too many responsibilities, it can kind of lead to making mistakes, because when you try to juggle multiple things at once, it has the potential often to lead to massive amounts of stress. And what do we do when we get stressed? Oftentimes we go back to our old comfortable ways, or we do things that are unhealthy because they have a temporary stress relieving effect on us, even though it just in the long run leads to more stress. It's a con on our system. For instance, alcohol can numb your feelings, but it can also make you feel kind of more grounded. It can make you feel happier, but it does so at the expense of ruining the health of your body, your liver, your stomach, your mind, you name it. So again, oftentimes, folks, what I've learned on myself and working with so many people over the last 5 years is that it's usually much more beneficial if you just make a few very, not necessarily basic goals, but attainable goals for yourself, and then just move towards those instead of trying to do all of this stuff all at once. People contact me all the time saying, I tried changing my diet, I tried doing this, but with the stress of work and with the stress of having the kids and all this stuff, doing all these things was just too much. So, ladies and gentlemen, no one's asking you to become a completely different version of yourself in the snap of a finger, at the snap of your finger. Trying not to sneeze. No one's asking you to be a goddamn hero, but you owe it to yourself to make some subtle or small or simple changes to your life that over time can create a better effect, because everything in this world falls under the laws of cause and effect, folks. What you do today affects what happens tomorrow, so on and so forth. You do indeed reap what you sow. So if you start sowing your seeds now, even if they're easy changes, such as getting a water filter, such as getting a shower filter and installing it so you and your family are bathing in cleaner water, imagine how much of an effect that's going to have over a 1 month period if you just start bathing in clean water. Someone I know just recently purchased a water distiller, and he started distilling the water from his hometown. And this distiller was in limbo. It took forever to get to him because he lives outside of the United States, so they had to ship it halfway across the world. And by the time it got to him, he was so excited to start using this water distiller. And he ran the water distiller, and after 1 gallon, ladies and gentlemen, of tap water that he distilled, there was so much waste in that distiller boil kettle. Now, if you don't filter your water, if you don't distill your water, your body becomes the filter, and your body absorbs some of these accumulative poisons. It kicks some of them out. You don't want to put more burden on your body by having to make your body a water filter. So to see how much stuff comes out of the tap water after distilling 1 gallon of tap water, to think that a month, the average person drinks a pretty considerable amount of water every month, and the average American consumes a lot of tap water. So all of that stuff that you could be pulling out of your water with a distiller, you are absorbing that, you're putting that through your system. Now, again, what does this have to do with the subject of the video? It has to do with the fact that a simple change, such as getting a water filter or a water distiller, over a 1 month period time, you will effectively not absorb all of that waste, such as my friend and all the other people who are distilling tap water and pulling all of this disgusting bullshit out of the tap. A simple change like a water filter or a simple change like a shower filter can lead to drastic effects, because it leads to your body not being exposed to all of these poisons. Now, when you expose yourself to poisons, you reap the negative consequences of that, because, like I said earlier, we live in a world of cause and effect. This chair keeps making noise. Excuse me, folks. See if that's any better. Simple changes. You don't have to, start going on runs, even though you've never ran before. Like adopting all these crazy exercise routines. It's really easy to desire to exercise, but when it comes down to it, most people, when it's finally time to exercise, they don't actually want to do it. I can't tell you how many times I've mentally set up plans for myself to do something. It's really easy to think, oh, I'm going to go run. I'm going to do this stuff starting Monday or starting the week after. You know, it's always postponing. And it's easy to think about what you want to do, but when it comes time to do it, oftentimes we, again, life is stressful. It can be very stressful. We have a lot of obligations here in the matrix. We have a lot of contracts that we've made with this system. We've got to be here at this time. Then we've got to be back to pick this person up or pick the kids up. Then we've got to make dinner. I mean, you've got to find time, though, amongst all of that to take care of yourself. And that's where subtle changes, that's where simple changes come into play. And you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, that when you make simple little changes and you stay true to those changes and you follow the system, it just makes your life easier. It makes your life less cluttered, so to speak. When you lift your health levels up, everything becomes easier. And suddenly you can juggle all your tasks much easier. You find it easier to manage your time. This channel exists to inspire you to make simple changes that can have drastic results in the long run. Because health is not something that you're just going to be able to achieve overnight. It's a progression. Health is a expansion. It's a never-ending process. Health is not something that you attain overnight. So again, instead of going, people who, you've never ran before, but you're starting next week, you're going to go run a mile every morning. Why don't you just go for a walk every night as the sun's going down? Load your smartphone with a bunch of beneficial music or beneficial lectures on YouTube, health-related lectures. Hell, you could listen to me while you walk. Excuse me. Go for a walk. Get your circulation up. Walking is one of the most beneficial forms of exercise, folks. It supports the entire musculoskeletal system. It allows you to get outside of your little three-dimensional box that we call homes that are saturated in EMF, saturated in toxic, I'm not even going to get into it. You get to look at the trees, you get to hear the birds, you get to see little lizards and shit running around. Walking is very beneficial. In my opinion, and it's taken me quite a long time to accept this, walking is the healthiest form of exercise that there is. Other than some specific forms of yoga and some specific forms of breathing, which you can actually do while you're walking. The Taoists will tell you that the quicker your heart beats and the harder you breathe, the faster you die. And here in the West, we worship exercise as if it's the greatest thing in the world. When you exercise, ladies and gentlemen, you lose through your sweat massive amounts of your nutritional reserves, and most Americans are not actually adequately replenishing those reserves. And, this is one of the reasons why, athletes die young. Really, quote unquote, healthy looking people drop dead of heart attacks. It's because of the deficiencies from all of the exercise and the wear and tear on their body. Not to mention, you're revving up your motor, metaphorically speaking, constantly. It's like getting a brand new car and taking it out of the lot and just flooring it for the duration of the time you own that car. So if you actually bought a car and you just got behind the wheel and floored it everywhere you went and just redlined it, how long do you think that car would actually last? Now, obviously, it's going to last longer if you undertake some maintenance and you change the oil, but still, you're putting a lot of wear and tear on that car. We need to approach things more metaphorically and symbolically and realize that we, to a large extent, are like a vehicle. Most Americans, and this is kind of related to the subject of the video, but let's just make this a rant. Most Americans, for one, exercise for vanity. They exercise for very vain reasons. They don't exercise to actually, become more alive. Most people just want to fit into, they want to look good on the beach. The exercise industry is built on vanity. That's how it's advertised. Hate to tell you. And I'm not saying that there aren't companies and establishments and people out there who exercise for their health, because there's a ton of them. But the overall mainstream template of health is advertised in a very vain way. You've got to get six-pack abs and you've got to look this way in this bikini. And so it's just a whole bunch of bullshit. So if you exercise for vain reasons, do you really think you're going to get anything out of it? Because exercise is supposed to be to enhance the the health of your circulation, the health of your cardiovascular system. You're moving blood and you're moving lymphatic fluids. You're taking care of your system. You're undergoing maintenance. But again, when you exercise for vain reasons, 9 times out of 10, the exercise when you exercise for vanity is just extreme exercise, explosive exercise, throwing tires around, running as fast as you can, sweating and never really adequately replenishing your electrolytes and minerals unless you're using some type of overly marketed, these exercise drinks that are filled full of bullshit. They're basically, in my opinion, like industrial waste products with fancy labels. I mean, come on, folks. I mean, I talk to a lot of people who are so-called fitness gurus, and they seem really imbalanced. I'm not trying to judge, but this is my channel. I'm going to say what I want. A lot of the people that I talk to who are like fitness coaches and whatnot, they're just balls to the wall, want to sprint, want to swim, want to just get their heart rate up all the time, and they lack a lot, at least it appears to, that they lack the actual like basic care of their physiology. You're not exercising to look like a Greek god unless that's your thing. For me, exercise is to support the health of the system, to support the basic mechanisms in the body, and then you looking better or looking leaner, that's just a byproduct of health. But most people don't approach it that way. Most people approach, I want to get shredded. I want to get ripped. I want to look this way. They don't go and they don't realize that, okay, if I get healthy, if I put the right building blocks in my system, if I take the right minerals, if I fortify my system with the correct vitamins in their proper ratios, if I get enough sunlight, if I, ground myself enough, if I get my magnesium levels up, if I don't overindulge, well, then I'll just look good as a byproduct of being healthy. But most people want to short circuit that and just try to look good without actually being healthy. And that's a huge problem. I hope that makes sense, folks. But again, to stay on point, no one's asking you to be a hero. You have the ability to make subtle, small changes that over time create drastic results. Drastic results, folks. I love you. I want to see you thrive. I really, really hope that my channel and my messages could come into your life at the right time and motivate you today to do something beneficial for your health. Go to the dollar store and get a pad of paper and write out some goals. What is it that you want to achieve? What is something that you've wanted to do that you've held back from doing because you've just created, it comes down to the fact that you're making excuses. And I understand that people have schedules. I understand that people have obligations. But no one's schedule is so full where they can't start making changes or at least planning for them and actually initiating that course of action. Such as, okay, I'm going to finally get a goddamn shower filter, go onto Amazon and order one. Go into my Amazon store. I have tons of different options available. That alone, just bathing in clean water is going to be beneficial for your skin. You're going to reduce the amount of chlorine and chloramines that not only damage the health of your skin and make it dry, but it affects the health of the gut microbiome. It wipes out intestinal flora. Just removing chlorine and chloramines from your life is going to significantly lower your exposure to these toxins. It's going to put you in a league all of your own compared to most Americans whose day is just riddled with environment. I think my camera stopped recording, damn it. The average American's day is filled full of toxins. So by default, living in this world, if you're especially in the United States, and we're in no way, shape, or form the only nation that's heavily polluted, but I reside in the United States, so I speak in that regard. But in the United States, when you walk out the door, you are exposed to brake dust. You are exposed to all the aerosols from the geoengineering program. You're exposed to all the pollution from the cars, the metals in the air, you name it. And on top of that, there's a lot of this stuff in the house as well. So I know I talk about these things often, but repetition of a message constitutes mental programming. And that's why I want to see you make subtle changes that can help take your toxin load and manage it to more manageable units, because your body's literally working overtime to process all of this negative information that's coming in from your environment so that you can remain healthy and have homeostasis, which basically means balance, equilibrium. So I've said it once, I'm going to say it again. We spend a large majority of our lives indoors in our homes. We spend 1/3 of our lives, ladies and gentlemen, in bed. Where's my damn wand? I'm going to grab the wand. We spend 1/3, folks, of our lives in bed. That's a significant chunk of time. Now, on top of that, we spend a ton of time indoors preparing meals, hanging out with family, watching TV, you name it. So actually, folks, the majority of our lives that we spend here in this dimension is spent in our homes. So considering that the homes are basically, you want to turn your home into a health regeneration pod, so that all the time that you spend inside in your box, it's actually like you're hooked up to like a health IV, so to speak, and it's constantly like helping you breathe deeper. Get an air filter and get one for your bedroom and get one for your living room. Start cleaning out the poisons, the toxins that are coming into your house. I believe there was a study that I can't remember exactly what it said at this point, but a while back I stumbled across this piece of information that basically said that the actual air in your home is dirtier than the air outside of your home. That's filled, the air outside is filled full of environmental pollution, but the air comes into our houses, and because most of us don't have an air filter, because most of us don't have adequate circulation, the stuff just gets suspended in our homes, and we sit there and we breathe it. So minimizing dirty electricity, I'm going to make a video on that in just potentially within the next few days, folks. Minimizing dirty electricity, getting rid of your goddamn television. Excuse me. That was the cup that made that noise. I did not just fart. But, man. If you get an air filter for your bedroom as well, at least if you get a good one, it's going to help you breathe deeper while you sleep. Sleep is where we undertake massive amounts of regeneration and subconscious reprogramming. Like when we go to sleep at night, our mind sifts through all of the stuff that we went through during that day and manages it subconsciously and on the unconscious level. So you really, on top of that, your body's regenerating, your mind's regenerating. You want to get the most out of sleep. So I'm actually going to be doing a video next week, ladies and gentlemen, on how to sleep deep and through the entire like night. A lot of people contact me and say that they wake up constantly. And I've had that issue where I would, in the past, wake up in the middle of the night and be wide awake, and certain dietary alterations changed that massively. I believe, based on my research, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're wide awake, there's a few different potential reasons as to why this happens, but it looks like it's a blood sugar problem. But it could be the fact that you go to bed too early. It could be the fact that you drank coffee too late in the day and it's still circulating through your system. And even though you were tired and fell asleep with caffeine in your system, you woke up and it was still coursing through your system. And because you had a few hours of rest, your body's just now in overdrive and ready to be up. Caffeine is a very beneficial thing. It leads to a handful of different, at least with coffee has a lot of health benefits. I'm going to have to do a health benefits of coffee video here in the near future, but coffee stays in your system, folks, for hours after you consume it. So try to not drink coffee after 2 p.m. That'll help you drastically. And always, from the moment the sun goes down to the moment you go to sleep, if you have sleep problems, wear your blue blocking sunglasses. These are the UVEX Skypers. I'm not going to talk about these in this video. I've talked about these in a handful of other videos. Check out my archives if you're interested. Those alone have improved my sleep quality 10,000%. There's a few different things and herbs that you can take that will help you actually sleep through the entire night as well, folks. And that's a very beautiful thing. To actually fall asleep and then wake up when your alarm goes off and you look back at the night and go, wow, I didn't wake up once. And that is true healing right there. When you sleep the entire night without waking up until that alarm goes off, you've successfully made it through keep saying that my frame rates are being dropped on my screen, so hopefully this gets recorded, but that is truly regenerative sleep, folks. That is truly regenerative sleep. It's not so much also how long you sleep, but how deep you sleep. You could sleep for 8 hours a night and toss and turn, or you could sleep for 5 hours a night and sleep deep, and you could wake up feeling literally like you've gotten a month's worth of quality sleep. If you wake up tired, if you wake up dragging ass, you did not get a good night's sleep. And it looks like my goddamn microphone, hopefully this is recorded. Let's see if that's better. It's like my ship is sinking in front of me. My camera's getting all weird, and so is my mic, but we're going to continue forward regardless. Anyways, folks, to summarize things and to wrap it up, simple changes for your health. You don't have to go run miles. You don't have to completely change your diet overnight. You just have to make small, subtle changes. And it's so easy that sometimes those changes are just a financial expense. You buy an air filter, you plug it in. After that, you don't have to do much. You buy a shower filter, you put some Teflon tape on the shower pipes, on the threads, you screw it on, and suddenly you don't have to do much other than bathe in it anymore. You can actually modify your daily routine so that you don't have to do anything else other than what you're currently doing after you get the little, the piece of technology that can help your home be healthier. We'll talk more about it in the near future, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of your health, peace be with you all.